Over the last few days, we've heard many stories about former President George H.W. Bush. And today, Eyewitness News reporter Luke Simons is at the Bush Library in College Station for us, and he spoke to someone who has an interesting relationship with the former president.
You know, I consider him a real live Superman.
When former Sergeant First Class Mike Elliott talks about former President George H.W. Bush, he's talking about a dear friend.
And when you have someone at his caliber, life in your hands 3 different times, 2 miles above Earth, and you're about to fall off an airplane, it gives you a whole new meaning for this person.
3 times Mike Elliott jumped out of a perfectly good airplane with Bush 41. In 2007, the two jumped for the rededication of the Bush Library. In 2009 and 2014, it was a unique 85th and 90th birthday celebration.
He said, just because you're 80 years old doesn't mean you have to sit around in a corner and sob over yourself.
Elliott has been to the president's home, celebrated milestones with the former president and his family, but it's the personal interactions and the way Bush treated veterans that Elliott will never forget.
Most inspiring moment for me is when I'm sitting there in his house across from him and having a cocktail and listening to his story about being shot down. And it's one of those moments where you pinch yourself like, am I really here? And, he was not the president at that time. He spoke as just a friend, just telling a story to a couple of veterans.
And seeing the outpouring of support for the 41st president, well, Elliott is not surprised. The nation seems to have been brought together.
The passing of 41, it kind of brought America together this weekend. You see the flags at half-mast, you turn on the television, and everyone is talking about this great man.
And as preparations are being made to lay Bush 41 to rest, Elliott has one more message for his friend.
I would say, sir, ceiling and visibility unlimited. Blue skies, you lived your life well.
Luke Simons, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.